Hi, Victoria Vanzura here. Today I'm going to take you into a deep dive of a project calendar for a fourth grade ELA PBL project. Some of the things that I hope could be answered through this vignette is that what you can see, like sort of what a day to day looks like in a project. And the truth is, like every day is going to be different depending on where you are in your project. And I hope that it will answer some other questions you may have about, like, well, where does guided reading fit in? Or if I need to do a spelling list or a spelling test, and where am I going to get my grades from? Some of those things will be clear when you see a project calendar it's rough, but it's mostly filled out. You can see how the project will unfold over the course of 3 weeks. So just some context on this. This is fourth grade ELA. This classroom was split. The students split between two teachers. So they had an ELA classroom and a math science classroom. So they had a 120-minute block for English language arts, and then they would switch. So the teacher's doing these lessons twice in a day with a different classroom of kids. So what you'll see in the plans are just ELA. Another thing is the standards for this particular project were narrative structure. So it was for fiction, and the things that the teacher was trying to address is characters, plot, setting, theme. Those were some of the things in the standards that were going to be taught through this project. All right, so let's take a look. You know how we talked about the bookends, like day one being your launch? Well, you'll look and see here the final presentation is on day 13, and there's a day afterward to maybe do any presentations that you didn't finish or to wrap up the project. So that's going to be how it's spaced out. And now we'll think about all the things that need to happen in between. So for this project, the teacher is still doing a read aloud. In this case, all the kids have a copy of the novel, and so it's called a read along. Every day starts with the read along, and the teacher is having the students do a language chart. So you'll see that's consistent across all the days as they finish the novel. The teacher can use this as sort of an anchor text to help the students with their own independent reading that they're doing to create this project. So day one, I'm going to zoom in here. Day one is launching the project. Their entry event is shown. It's the librarian saying, oh, kids only like to read, they don't like to read books. They like to watch movies. Can you help me make books look as exciting as movies? So now they're going to know they're going to be presented with a problem. How can we as movie producers create a trailer that will get readers interested in specific books? So now they have a task in a real world scenario, and they're going to read books and create a book trailer that then is going to be QR code in a library book so that students who go to the library can use their device to check the QR code, see a book trailer, and say, oh, that looks exciting. I want to read that book. And that's the big picture here. Here's some other things that have to happen on day one. Know and need to knows. Book preview and selection. The teacher is going to need to make sure kids are reading some books that are on their level, and that grouping students, and that they have some voice and choice in the book that they pick. Then there's a couple other things that need to happen. There may be spelling lists or vocabulary words, creating a tab in journals so that they can keep their work all together. That's what the first day might look like. Okay, day two, after you have your read along and the language chart, it could be reader response journal, however you want them to respond to the reading. Now there's movie trailer exploration. What are the characteristics of movie trailers? The teacher will probably show a few and have them do some turn and talks or sharing out. This is a good day for the rubric to be given to the students, and the teacher can go over it with them. Contracts and book assignment. Now the teacher has used the information from the preview and selection process to figure out who's in a group and what book they're reading, and then they can create their contract. There may be some logistical, like we need book boxes and folders, and the rest of the day, the teacher may have them start reading their book, and she may pull guided reading groups, or they may still have some word work, and they're going to wrap their day up with going back to their know and need to knows. All right, day 3. Oops. They're reading the story, and then there's a story elements anchor chart so we can start going over what is character, setting, plot. There's a Saravallo strategy the teacher may want to model in a mini lesson, and they're probably going to introduce using iMovie to look at the templates for the book trailers. Then after they look at those, it's time for small groups, and they may be still independent reading their book. They may have using their iPads to look at more trailers or preview their templates for which one they want to use for their book. And there may be some homework or vocabulary webs. Those are part of the project too. Day 4 has some reading. Then there's a mini lesson on matching tone and mood. There's probably standards that align with that, and they need to choose a template that matches the tone of the iMovie template needs to match the tone of the book. They'll come back to their know and need to knows. Hopefully some questions have been answered, right? When we said you're a movie producer, you're going to create a trailer, probably one of their questions was, how do I make a trailer? And hopefully now they've seen the templates in iMovie for making a trailer, they could cross that off the list. So remember, they're going to be coming back to the know and need to knows a lot. And look, there's an exit ticket as a formative assessment. Which did you choose? How does it match your book? They answer this question, and now the teacher can see that they have made a decision and showed application of the standard about mood and tone of stories in their work that they're doing. Day 5, they're reading chapters 6 and 7. They have a spelling test. That's okay to do those other things that need to get done. And then look, the rest of the day is guided reading, and students have time to work on their projects. So the teacher may put them in their teams, pull students for guided reading, send them back out, walk around, check on the groups, pull another guided reading group. There looks like they have reviewing the rubric again before the end of the week, saying okay, how are we doing on this? And then they have Fun Friday. So that's what the first week might look like. Let's keep moving along. Day 6, still reading their novel. There's a mini lesson on storyboarding. This is a specific scaffolding that was going to help them create their trailer, and it aligns with the standards for plot. So if they're still reading their book, they can tell what events are happening, what might you have in your storyboard that's going to show up in your trailer. So that piece of scaffolding happens here. Then the teacher's pulling guided reading groups, and the kids are working on their storyboards. They might come back to those knows and need to knows at the end of the day. Day 7, still reading. There's a Saravallo mini lesson these are reading strategies in case anyone's not familiar with Jennifer Saravallo. Probably conflict in the book has come up. It's certainly going to have come up in the chapter book you're reading because you're almost over with it. But the book that they're reading, and think about what does that reveal about the characters, and how do we want that to be portrayed in your book trailer? Guided reading and working on storyboards. There may be some new vocabulary words, so they may be doing Freyer model vocabulary webs as part of their independent work or during their daily 5. Chapter 10, you're finishing up your novel that you did with the kids, and then there may be a discussion about theme, because you will probably want theme to be apparent in the book trailer, and they should be thinking about, what is the theme of their own book that they're reading? Again, that aligns with the standard for identify theme in fiction. And so you're kind of modeling it with your read aloud, and they're getting to apply it in their own reading. Guided reading and work on project, last day to finish their books. Storyboards are due. This is a grade. This is formative assessment. I need to see before you start filming your book trailer that you have read your book, you have your plot events. I can tell what you want to do with your characters. And there's also a peer and self-evaluation checkpoint here. So how are they doing working with their teams, and how are they doing as they're progressing? Look at day 9, career day. You know what? Sometimes there's going to be things that pop up in the middle of your project that have nothing to do with your project, a field trip or an assembly. Make sure you think those things through and you put them and know, we're not going to have a whole lot we can do on that day. I'm just going to do my guided reading groups, and they're going to work on their projects. I do want to have them return to the rubric, and we might play a vocabulary game if we have time. So, consider all the other things that are happening as you make a calendar. And you can see day 10 is more work time, checkpoint on the project. You want to see how the students are coming along with what they're doing. Don't wait until the end. When they haven't finished it, you want to check in on all of them and make sure that they have the help they need. All right, here's what the last week looks like. Hey, Monday's no school. That happens in the Melba project too. Take that into account. So no spelling because it's a short week. Day 11, they need a lot of project work time, but you're also creating a movie marquee for the door because for presentation day, it's going to be like a red carpet premiere. Here's Miss Cara taking groups outside to do filming if they need to. That's a student teacher who, or maybe you'll have a parent volunteer. You may need to have some help when you're trying to manage large, or all the kids are trying to record their videos at the same time. You might need a little space, so bring in help if you have it. Day 12 is going to have a mini lesson on presentation skills. So you want to remind them, okay, when you're presenting, you're going to be sitting here and the panel is going to ask you some questions. Here's some things they might ask you. You want to give them some time to prepare for speaking in front of the panel. They have one more day to wrap up their projects, and there's some logistical things, rearranging the room, going over expectations, go back to any know and need to knows, make sure everything's answered. Then it's presentation day. It's the movie premiere party. There's a red carpet of red butcher paper on the floor. And maybe you got some coffee filters and filled them with some microwave popcorn because it's a movie premiere. And the students who are showing their trailer, they'll show the trailer and the kids are sitting at the panel, and then you get to ask questions and the audience gets to ask questions. And this is where they can reveal more about their process. And then you can check on some of the standards, like what would you say the theme of the story was? And how did you show us the theme through your trailer? So it's a chance to get them to talk and share about that. Then there's a what will I read next sheet completed, or peer response, some way that you're holding the children accountable for the other presenters and what they're watching. And then, if you have any time left, they can start making those QR codes with the teacher. That's technology, having them learn how to do that. And they could be reading independently or partner reading. And then day 14, you're still wrapping up. If a presentation didn't get done for some reason, they could do it that day. Burning discs with the project presentation so they can take home, so they have DVDs of their work and their classmates' work. Putting the QR codes, taking them to the librarian and say, here's some book trailers we made. I hope people like them. She can tape them into the books in the library that they match with. So that's it. And now your project, that's a wrap. So you can see like what it looks like on each day could be totally different, but as they move along, there's still room for guided reading. There's still formative assessment. You may still have vocabulary and spelling that they need to do because those are standards that need to be addressed. And even though this isn't totally complete, it should give you a good picture of what it looks like.